Hi everyone, welcome. I've got my chocolate gloves on today and I am really excited about showing you how to make some beautiful chocolates full of love, made with love. And these ones are very interesting because, and I'll show you what I've got here, we've actually got a beautiful little heart chocolate and it's ready to pop out of the tin. I'm going to show you these because I keep them in the freezer and I'm just sort of wiggling the tin a bit and I'm going to just knock it out and you can see that we've got a beautiful chocolate heart here. Wonderful, covered with freeze-dried strawberries, raspberries, pistachios, this one, and I'm going to use some other nuts too. And these are fabulous. I've got a little one in a silicone mold here. These are actually little silicone muffin cups and they make a beautiful outside edge, just like a little mini muffin flat. It's lovely, beautiful ones. And I saved these because I can't remember what I bought that came in this little bit of packaging, but it's a wonderful bit for bars. So I'm just going to pop them up a little bit. And these are my frozen chocolate bars. And I'm literally just pop them out of that case. Really easy to do. It's a lovely thing to have. And just for my last thing to show you, I know I did a chocolate slab in the picture advertising this video, but I've got a little silicone mold of little chocolate hearts or little hearts, and I'm just going to pop these out. And oh my gosh, they look totally perfect underneath and they look wonderful on the top where you've got this fabulous little bit here. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. And they're very easy to use, these silicone molds, because you can get the chocolates out really easily. And once I've got these out, I can show you the whole board full, and you can pop them into a little acetate bag if you like, and tie a beautiful red ribbon around them, and you've got wonderful chocolates made with love, full of your love. And I'm taking these little chocolate gloves off now. That was so I didn't put any marks on them. And here we are, beautiful selection of gorgeous chocolates. I'll turn that one around so it's in the heart shape for you. Isn't that absolutely wonderful? And lots of fun, lots of deliciousness in here. And now I'm going to make them for you. So I'll just get these out of the way for a moment. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some very dark chocolate. As a matter of fact, it's called cacao. And that is because it has no sugar in it whatsoever. I've got some broken pieces here from a chocolatier who's very famous in the UK. And this is called Willie's cacao. And it comes in a little roll here in 2 chunks. I popped those 2 chunks into a little ziplock bag and whacked them with a hammer to break them into these pieces. So that all of those pieces will fit into the Thermomix and get down to the blades. And hi, I'm seeing some lovely names coming on. And the other thing that you can do if you're watching from Australia is Cindy O'Meara, Changing Habits, has these beautiful cacao melts that are 100% cocoa solids. And they are great. They come looking like this, just little chocolate discs, tiny ones, and you can use those instead. This is going to be a fabulous bar or slab that you can actually make really, really easily using this very, very dark chocolate to give yourself a chocolate with no sugar added at all, except for the dried fruit that we're going to be using to stud it with. Or, hi Alison, nice to see you. Or you can actually use a little bit less of a dark chocolate. If you find that you just can't do it, you don't really like bitter chocolate, then you can actually adjust it to your family's taste or to the taste of the person that you're making these with love for. Perhaps you're making them for Valentine's Day. Perhaps you're making them as part of your keto diet. Perhaps you're doing low carb, high fat, or Slimming World or Weight Watchers. These are fabulous, and they're vegetarian and vegan too, but I just like them because they're plain old delicious. And I don't have a very sweet tooth, so that's why I'm very happy with this dark chocolate. So I'm just going to literally weigh it into my Thermomix. The packet's at 180 grams. And there we are, 178. Probably lost a little bit of dust in the plastic bag when I was bashing it. And actually I'll use one of these little pellets, these little discs, and that'll be perfect. And I'm going to add in half that weight, 90 or 100 grams of coconut oil. Now, some people don't like the flavor of coconut oil, so if you don't want to use the raw virgin coconut oil, you can actually get some deodorized coconut oil, or I know my friend Rachel was asking me about this yesterday. You can actually use unsalted butter if you want. The important thing is that you want to have, oh, lots of hearts, lovely. The important thing is you want to have a fat that will go solid at room temperature naturally. So unsalted butter is totally perfect for that. You could actually use extra just cocoa butter, and that works well too, unsweetened if you want it to still be unsweetened. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just literally, where did I put, it's right here, my lid for my Thermomix. I'm really excited about this recipe and I think it's so much fun. I actually put up the picture of the chocolate slab, and so many people asked for the recipe, that's why I'm doing it now. So I'm literally going to set my time for 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put it on for 50 degrees. If you were using a higher sugar, so lower cocoa solids chocolate, then in actual fact, what you would do is you would possibly use 45 degrees centigrade instead. And you can do that quite easily. I've got it at speed 1 right now because I'm talking to you, but I'm actually just going to give it a little bit of a blitz to get it started breaking down and melting. So here we go. I'm going up to speed 5. So what I've got now is I've got 180 grams of dark chocolate. This is 100% cocoa solids. It has no soya in it. It doesn't have any fillers or other ingredients. It is just pure chocolate, cocoa bean ground up, liquefied, and then solidified for us to buy it. And then it's put in here. So 180 grams. Then I added 90 grams of coconut oil. You can use deodorized coconut oil, as I said, or unsalted butter, or just cocoa butter instead. And that is now being melted down. I want to melt about 3/4 of it so that actually it ends up being beautifully melted, but not too hot. So that's great. And if you like anything that you're seeing or I'm saying, then please do send lots of red hearts up, because of course this is Valentine's Day and I want you to be able to enjoy it, and you can make some beautiful little chocolate hearts or bars or slabs or circles, whatever you feel like really, which is totally great. And so what we're doing now is just melting that chocolate with my Thermomix when it's going at very low speed. This is speed 2. I'm actually going to just stop it for a moment and have a look. And John has a question for me.
Yes, we've been asked, where do you get the cacao in the UK, Janie?
I got mine at Waitrose. You can get it at most supermarkets. Sometimes you can get it at health food stores too. So that's really nice. Hi, Adela. So nice to see your name pop up. And now what I've got, John, could you just hold the light for me? Because this is actually melted enough for our purposes right now, which was really quick. That's just over 2 minutes. So what I've got here is I've actually got liquid, but with, you can see all of those bits of broken chocolate up the sides. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to scrape that down with my spatula, and then I'm going to continue stirring it without heat, and that will melt the rest of these little bits from the side of the Thermomix bowl into the warm chocolate in the base of the bowl.
Janie, just in case our viewers are concerned, you said Valentine's Day is today.
Oh, it's not today. I'm so excited about Valentine's Day. Valentine's is on Sunday. Today is Friday. And but of course you can make this any time of the year. And I know I made this originally just a couple of weeks ago, which is when I took the picture of the chocolate slab and put it up on Facebook and Instagram. I made it for a friend who was doing a special diet with no carbs allowed just for a very short time. And so it was great to be able to make this for her. And because she was no carbs, she was very used to no sugar. Because of course sugar is carbs. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn off the heat and then continue stirring at speed 2. And that is just going to work itself in so that all the little tiny chopped up bits of solid chocolate that are still in there are actually going to melt into that lovely warm chocolate at the bottom of your Thermomix bowl. So it's great to be able to do that. This is easy. Normally, what I do when I was working with chocolate before I came across the Thermomix was I would put on my oldest, dirtiest apron. I would cover the table with things to protect it. And oh my gosh, it's so challenging to be clean and do chocolate. So, and I have a friend actually who has a Thermomix. She doesn't do chocolate very much, but she can still get her apron dirty. I don't know how she does it when she has a beautiful Thermomix to keep everything clean and tidy in her kitchen. But we do have a laugh about that. So here we are. I'm just getting my tray ready, and this is just a thin baking tray with, you know, it's a little bit flexible. I don't want it to be too solid because I want to be able to just do that once it's frozen in the freezer. I want to be able to pop the chocolate out and then break it into shards. So that's what I'm going to do. That's what I did with the last chocolate slab that you actually saw in the advertising for this recipe video. So now what I've got is I've got my tray ready. I've got my freeze-dried raspberries ready. They are so beautiful. They are a little burst of fabulous flavor, and berries count as low carb. And here are the strawberries. Now my raspberries, I happen to be able to get organic freeze-dried raspberries. Let me show you the packets. So I got mine in the UK here. This is the company that I got them from, Real Food Source. I think you can get them from 2 or 3 different places online in the UK. Sometimes you'll find them at health food stores. They're great to be able to have as a really intense hit of flavor particularly when you're doing chocolates. And I really like them. They're actually good enough to eat several. They do cost quite a lot, but in actual fact, although I said 40 grams of strawberries in the, I think I said 25 grams of one and 40 grams of the other in the recipe, this is a 50-gram packet, and it costs about £4. You won't actually use nearly the packet. So if I show you here, what I've got in the bowl is probably only about 8 or 10 grams. It's really quite inexpensive compared to buying something that's raw chocolate or 100% cacao. So now what I've got here is and I'm checking it, I'm just looking at it here. I won't be able to show it to you too much because of course that is going to pour out of the bowl if I tip it too much towards you. But what I've got is a completely liquefied chocolate. And here it is being poured into my tray. I'm not lining the tray or anything. And I'm just going to use my spatula to get the rest out. If you want to leave some in your Thermomix bowl and add some milk of your choice and heat it up, that's delicious. Makes a beautiful hot chocolate. So one of the reasons that I'm using not just pure chocolate in this recipe, because you could do it with pure chocolate if you wanted to, but what I'm doing is the coconut oil will add a little hint of sweetness. So I've literally just tipped that so it evenly covers the base of that baking tray. And what I'm going to do now, and you have to have a little bit of a side on your baking tray, I'm actually going to put in some of these lovely raspberries. So here they go. Fabulous. And you will find with freeze-dried fruit, like raspberries, that you end up with quite a lot of dust at the bottom of the bag. Don't throw it away. It's pure flavor. And you can use it in an ice cream or to sprinkle on something as a decoration. and it's really, really good. So now I've got my raspberries in, and now I'm going to put some freeze-dried strawberry slices on, and then I'm going to fill up all the gaps with some nuts. And I've soaked and dehydrated my nuts so they're really beautiful and crispy, and they will add a lovely flavor and crunch to this chocolate once it's set. So here we are. Lovely, lovely. Do you have a question?
Yeah. The chocolate and the oil,
Yes.
how long do you heat it for in total?
I heated it for about 2¼ minutes today, and it depends on your starting temperature of your chocolate. So your starting temperature of your chocolate in Australia in the summer right now might be quite a lot warmer. It might only take you 1.5 minutes to melt your chocolate to 3/4 melted. And that's kind of what you're aiming for. I'm putting some crispy pistachio nuts on now. I love the color of them, and they make a beautiful contrast with the two reds from the strawberries and the raspberries. And I've also got some walnuts, I've got pecans, I've got almonds and Brazils. So I'm just going to pick some of these out of my bowl here and find some gaps and pop them in. You want to do this when your chocolate is just melted and poured into the tray, because of course after it's set you can't get the nuts to stick. So you want to do it straight away and have your ingredients out and ready to go. Oh, here's a few hazelnuts too. They're quite nice and little, so they'll go in some of these gaps here.
Did you dry the nuts, Janie?
Yes, I soaked them and then I dehydrated them. You can do that in a very low oven as well, just to make them crispy and completely dried through. You really want them to have a good crunch when you test them. Let them cool down before you put them onto your chocolate here, because that's the only way that you'll be able to tell, just by taking a bite really, that your nuts are actually completely dried. So this is looking pretty good. I love these toppings, so I'm putting in loads. Some people might want to only just put a little bit in, but I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. So that's my chocolate slab that I'm going to cool down to room temperature now, just until it looks as if it's set. And then I'm going to leave it in a cool place for about 2 hours. And then I'm going to pop it into my freezer. You don't want to drop chocolate's temperature by more than 10 degrees centigrade at a time, because otherwise you might get some streaky white lines on it and you don't want that. And so that's a really good little tip for you. If you like, and you want to reduce a little bit of the bitterness of your chocolate, because this is 100% chocolate, then what you can do is you can just literally take a teeny tiny pinch of pink salt. This is Himalayan pink salt, very finely ground, and just sprinkle it over the top. And it's amazing what that does with very dark bitter chocolate. It reduces the bitterness, and that's a Heston Blumenthal trick that he told me many years ago. It's great to know. And John, you have another question?
Yeah, so we will be publishing the recipe afterwards, but
Yes.
What temperature were you melting the chocolate at?
I was melting the very dark chocolate, the bitter chocolate, at 50 degrees. And then I turned the heat off to stir again for another 2.5 minutes until it was all liquefied, after I had scraped down the sides of the bowl with those little bits of unmelted chocolate. And then you get a beautiful, shiny, crisp chocolate that should release from your molds beautifully. And thanks, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day. And if you'd like to give yourself a lovely little treat as a present or for somebody else that you know, remember that there are lots and lots of other chocolate recipes in my wonderful cookbook, I Love Chocolate, I Love Thermomix. And you can get it from cookwithjanie.com. Thanks very much, and have a wonderful Valentine's weekend. Enjoy the sunshine today. Bye, everyone.